I hate to say it or even question it, but is George Pickens becoming a problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers? G'day, guys. Welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. Raining here in Australia, so it's nice and cool. But I want to talk about this video, and I want to talk about George Pickens. And I will link some articles too and some videos in the description below, so make sure you check them out. One is via Alan Saunders and the podcast there at Steelers Now, where they go into more detail. And I'm going to use some quotes from Alan as well. And we're talking about George Pickens. Now, last month, and I want to show you what my thoughts were last month when they talked about the Instagram free me, and I said it wasn't that big of a deal. We'll see that in just a minute. But my question is today, is George Pickens becoming a problem? That's a thing. Now, I've been on numerous times, I've called out Claypool because of his social media stuff. He wasn't very physical, all those kind of things. George Pickens of recent behavior has been sulking, has been that diva, I guess, receiver mentality, has been checking out on routes, has been checking out on plays when there's been interceptions. He didn't run back the guy carrying the football to chase him down, and also been checking out on plays that involve the blocking game and runs. So is George Pickens becoming a problem? Now, I do want to show you guys at Steeler Nation here what I said previously about, this was November 5th, so about 2 months ago, when we had the George Pickens drama around the freebie stuff and all these kind of things. And at this point, as you guys will hear, I said, you know what, it wasn't really that big of a drama. So let's take a listen what I said about 2 months ago. The person who didn't really celebrate this TD was probably the Titans and also George Pickens. So that was from Marco Bowl. And if you go back and watch the highlights, you see that. He's sitting there. He's a bit sulky. He's a bit fed up. He's frustrated. He's annoyed. You know, at the same time, though, you got to catch that ball in the end zone. If George Pickens catches that ball in the end zone, he's the hero. If he slides that foot for a Tony toe tap, he's the hero of the game. It's the game winner from Pickens. But there's a few things I want to kind of break down in this kind of order too, right? First of all, I don't think that this is really a big deal. The free me and getting rid of social media and deleting Instagram. Now I'm going to pause me there just for just a moment, all right? So when I said that last month, I really didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought Instagram, it is what it is, whatever, you know, you kind of move on, push forward. And it was something that maybe young blokes do, you know, social media, all that kind of stuff. But I did say, if it does continue to linger and there are more problems existing, then I think, yes, George Pickens can become a problem. He had a track record in college where he was throwing water bottles at people, where he was fighting people as well. You know, there's those kind of things that I think can linger into the NFL. And if you have that selfish attitude, and we've seen it with AB, and if George Pickens continues that tendency or to keep being all about himself and not playing for the team, then yes, it can be a big problem, right? So when this thing came up with Freemy, as you guys will hear, again, it wasn't that big of a deal back then, but now it's starting to be. And followers, the Steelers, I think he deleted Deontay Johnson and other guys, Kenny Pickett. He unfollowed quite a few people on social media. First of all, I don't think that's a big deal. But wait, and I mean yet. However, yet. It's not a big deal yet. So let's start there. Second point is, the bloke's in his 20s. He's 22 years of age. He's a young fella, and we don't really mature, mentally speaking, until about 25, 26, 27. So we don't. Right. So I'm going to cut myself off there. That's all I kind of needed to go back and look at my previous comments about George Pickens. When I said it wasn't that big of a deal yet, young guy too, 20 years of age, all those kind of things. But now we have some other things I want to talk about with regards to George Pickens in the previous game versus the Colts. And these are a few quotes from Alan Saunders and also Nick Farabaugh. It says here, Alan Saunders says he's a reporter out there in Pittsburgh. It says, took Antonio Brown 7 years to become disliked in this town, as George Pickens has into, which is really saying something. And also Nick Farabaugh too. I think he's another reporter for Pittsburgh. He says here, this is George Pickens on his effort with the Jalen Warren run. He says, this is quoting from George Pickens. It's not a good look. I tell you right now, the way that George Pickens answered this question in Pittsburgh, it just won't fly with fans, and it won't fly with media members, and it won't fly with other players and things like that. It's really not a good look. So he says here to George, says, I was just trying to prevent the Tank Dell situation. I ain't want to get that injury. When you stay up on those kind of blocks, you can get ran up on, and that's the reason. Now, for me personally, I don't know what happened to Tank Dell, but if he's saying he got like a leg injury or something similar, the bloke's pretty much saying, George Pickens is pretty much saying, the reason why I didn't block for my teammate, Jalen Warren, is because I didn't want to get hurt. That is selfish. Dead set. And this is why my tune is now kind of changing. I still believe in Pickens. I still think he can turn it around and get some more passes going his way, get TDs and become that, number one receiver. I do believe that. But these are worrying signs you kind of have to look at. I was just trying to prevent the Tank Dell situation. I don't want to get injury. When you stay up on those blocks, you can get run up on, and that's the reason, right? Now, preventing injuries, fantastic. But the way you do things, if you're not checked into a play and you're not blocking, then somebody else would do it. They'll put out there Miles Boykin. He'd love to be out there, even though he's not the best receiver, and he can catch some footballs, but he's in the rotation of like 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5. He can block. Calvin Austin, I've seen him block. Connor Hayward, I've seen him block. Jalen Warren blocks. You've got to play team football. So this is a worrying sign for sure. He was saying that the reason why I didn't block was because you can get run up on, and that's the reason. That is me mentality and not team mentality. Now, also, Pickens has been getting frustrated by the media, getting frustrated by the play. You've seen him pouting on the sidelines. You've seen him getting cranky in the end zone when he's not getting the football. It's not the same as a Hines Ward or guys I grew up with like Hines Ward or Randall L, or even Santonio Holmes that I watched when I was, watching football when I was younger, thinking, man, let's get the job done. But I understand the receiver, the receiver position is filled with that ego, but sometimes you have to contain it and play team football. Whereas right now, Pickens is allowing the media to ask these questions because he is acting frustrated. The only way you avoid this is you don't act frustrated and you contain yourself and you put it all into the play. You don't let this get bigger than you. And then when you look mad, angry, and terrible, then of course the media is going to ask questions. However, though, here's what the media said. So one of the media members asked him a question, and he says here, George, this is from Nick Farabaugh, says, all the people that are questioning my effort, they don't even play football. They do what y'all in the media do. All the people that got opinions, they're media, surface guys, none of them play football. Now, that might be true. Some media members probably have never played football in their life. However, some media members have covered the NFL and gridiron for years and years and years and years. So you can't say all of them. But it's also not the right way to answer the question. Because your lack of play and your frustration, you can't blame the media for their opinion. You can't blame the fan base for their opinion on what they see of your play. You simply have to go out there and do the best job that you can do and not blame anyone but yourself because you're not getting the ball, because you're being frustrated. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I kind of see here. So George Pickens has not handled this press conference recently today with this question by blasting the media, saying, you're not in my position, you can't play football, you never play football, don't tell me what to do, I'm a football player, you're not. And also on the other side, he says here, I was trying to avoid a situation getting injured, and that's why I didn't give him 100%, and that's why I didn't block. It's not a good look. So I've gone from, I just hope this stuff works out, to be honest. I'm a Pickens fan. He's physical. If you give him the ball, high point the ball, amazing catches, but play team football mentality. But I'm going to leave you with this question. I'm not too worried just yet. However, if it does continue, we've got 3 games left, and I don't see him play team football, or I see him play me mentality football, all about me, George Pickens could very well be on the trading block next year. Very well. If the Rooneys, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, they won't fly with this. They dealt Claypool, see you later, goodbye, because he was all about me. They didn't re-sign Juju because he was a good receiver, but it was also about social media and all that kind of stuff. They won't fly with it. They dead set will not happen. So George, we have a saying here in Australia, it's time to pull your socks up. That's it. Just go and play football. Play your brand of football, which is physicality football. Go and play that and be a part of the team. Don't make it all about you, because right now, George Pickens in the media and on the field is all about George Pickens. It's not about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what you think about these two comments. The one about the injury, where he doesn't want to get an injury and he doesn't want to block, and also the one about him blasting the media overall.